morning, YouTube. Mochismo Eugene, another video from Exit Strategy. Welcome. I'm going to talk to you guys for a little while. And I don't want you to overthink what I'm saying. I don't want you to outthink yourself. Let me reword that. I don't want you to talk yourself out of what your intuition tells you, and I tell you that all the time. What I'm about to talk about, I don't want you to overthink it. I don't want you to second guess it. I just want you to listen directly to what I'm saying to you. And as you listen to it directly and you take it directly as I'm speaking it to you and apply it to the instances and the moments in which it applies, then you'll see it for what it is. If you overthink it or if you think too much into it, it'll go over your head. And what that is that I'm going to talk to you about is when you run into people of the past who you now recognize as narcissists. You didn't before, but these are people who you have interacted with, you have crossed their paths, you've had some communications, they have had communications with you on a consistent basis, here or there. They're not so much really friends, but they are people who've had their nails and their fangs into your life in some way, shape, or another. Just acquaintances who you may not have seen in months and maybe a few years, and you'll just begin to see people just start coming out of the deadwood that you used to be acquainted with, and you've ran into or had conversations with in the past, and you will undeniably recognize them as narcissists, full-blown narcissists. And as opposed to times past, you had no idea. Why? Because you wasn't awakened to what narcissistic personality disorder was or is. And so this is God affording you a front row seat to what you missed before. He's playing the movie back for you. And the reason why I want to talk to you guys about this, and I want you to be attuned to this on a regular, I don't want you to bob and weave, dodge and duck these type of people when you happen upon them. But what I would encourage you to do when you see them, you gray rock, you ignore them, you no contact as much as possible, as opposed to before. Because what these people will do, once you recognize them first, as opposed to when you were unawake, the narcissist happened upon you. They always see you before you see them, because your consciousness was not where it is now. So now we have the upper hand. We recognize their asses just as quick as they recognize us. But the difference is we have the shields in place. We have the shield in place to deflect and ward off all the energy that they want to bring us. And I speak about this case in point. You know, going into an establishment, you may be waiting in line, let's say Dunkin' Donut, to get your coffee. The individual in front of you, as happenstance would have it, ends up being a narcissist from the past that you didn't know was a narcissist before. You were acquainted with this individual or these individuals, and you had no idea of what you know now. And you will notice they will confirm what you already know over and over and over again. Within minutes, they will confirm it, and I'll show you how. You begin to go gray rock. You begin to go no contact. You basically ignore the hell out of this individual. When they look back, you're looking somewhere else. You ignore a narcissist. This kills them. It also makes them very, very revengeful. It makes them very spiteful. But that goes along with the territory. They're spiteful, hateful, vindictive, slanderous, backbiting, and smearing anyway. So what you're doing is you're ignoring them, and they are continuing to try to engage with you. Eye contact. You don't even give them eye contact. And in this particular instance, I had my hoodie on. I saw them when they went in the establishment to begin with. I kind of hesitated to get out of my truck, but then something said, get out of your truck, go in to get your coffee as you usually do. And waiting in line, you normally casually talk, or you may strike a conversation up, a mild conversation with someone. It's just being human. And you may not. Most of these lines that we're waiting in, people are dead silent. They're either on their phone or whatever, or they're looking around, gauging and observing other people, which is just a human part of, it's just part of human nature. But a narcissist does this for all the wrong reasons. They're gaining intel, they're latching on to energy and fuel supply. When healthy people are basically just cordially, casually trying to just make the time pass. And so they're in front of me at the register and they're fidgeting with either the money or the card, and nothing is seeming to work. The card doesn't have anything on it, and the cashier is like, well, it's not showing up anything. And so what they do, narcissists, they love to waste time. It could be the simplest thing. They will make it, they will linger, they will draw it out. Because you have to understand, for two reasons, they're discombobulated to begin with. They don't have a true sense of self. They are not organized as they pretend to be. Because what they're doing is multitasking, and they can't. Believe it or not, they can do several things simultaneously. They can. But the brain is not designed to be doing multiple overt amounts of things in task at one time. It's just going to be impossible to not make mistakes or miss something. And so this is a narcissist on steroids. They're on a roller coaster ride that you could never imagine. So they're fidgeting with their wallet. They're fidgeting with their purse. They're in their purse, their wallet, be it a man or a woman narcissist. And they're making a simple transaction out to be just an astronomical endeavor. And people, if there are a lot of people in line, you know, people are just, it's just pandemonium. So what they're doing is they are extracting tons of energy and fuel supply from making everyone in that line annoyed. But in this case, as with what I'm talking about, this individual was fidgeting with the wallet, but at the same time looked back at me and recognized me. But I'd seen him when he walked in. Reason why I'm telling you guys about this, because every year, every season, a narcissist has a robotic, repetitive cycle in which they go about garnering supply and fuel. They go around and about in a same autonomous circle. It's just like a merry-go-round. And what they do is, it's kind of like the love bomb, devalue, and discard. All of this stuff is, they have a laundry list or a checklist or a to-do list of where they go every day. I've said this before. A narcissist will wake up in the morning, take a shower or not, and put on their clothes, their makeup, their suit and tie, their slacks, their loafers, whatever. They will strategically and deliberately get up, dress the part to go to a Walmart, Target, department store of any kind, just to buy a 50-cent item, get to the register and create chaos and create confusion about that product. If it's 50 cents, they want it for a dime. There's nothing wrong with being savvy and asking for a deal. But no to the narcissist is kryptonite. It's a death sentence. Guess what I'm saying? They make a mountain out of a molehill. You guys know this. So back to case in point, an individual was standing at the register rubbernecking. And what they were doing was every time they looked back, they were expecting me to make eye contact with them. I was looking everywhere but at them. Or I was looking at them, but they didn't know that. And every time I anticipated them turning around to try to make eye contact. See, because what I'm trying to show you guys, these people want to engage in a conversation. They want a conversation, a superficial conversation, but from the onlookers, it seems like there's depth to what they're trying to talk to you about. They're using you as a means to matter. They're using you as a means to be significant in society. A narcissist has no significance whatsoever in society. They are roadblockers. They are time consumers. They are people or entities that have been put here to block progress of the universe strategically by the devil. The devil has recruited these people to overthrow harmony in humanity. That's my belief. And from all accounts, it would suggest that that's true. So he never got the eye contact he wanted, and so it really made me, I won't say it, sick to my stomach, but I was very agitated of the fact that I was aware of what this individual was. And mind you, as far as I know and I can see and tell, I don't know of anything they've done to try to hurt or harm me in one way, shape, or another. But being that they are narcissists, they will talk kind in your face, and in 5 seconds, depends on what circle they're in, they will be smearing you at the same time. So when you meet a narcissist from the past that you didn't know was a narcissist, and you are aware that they are a narcissist, you must move accordingly, because what you have to understand is you don't want to befriend a narcissist. You want to be able to not have to say hello, goodbye, hi, and goodbye. You would rather not have any communication with a narcissist whatsoever. We are here to starve these people. We want to starve their whole existence. We want to starve them for the very thing that makes them breathe and live and exist. We're here to help them decompose. And how you do that, you ignore the hell out of them. You give them no reply. You give them no response. You give them no eye contact. You give them nothing. Only thing you want them to hear is a rat pissing on cotton. And that is the silence. And I shouldn't say piss on cotton. A rat peeing on cotton. You want to really let them hear crickets. They don't need to hear anything from you. They don't have to hear any response from you, because I'm here to tell you, once you allow these people to engage with you just on a minimal level, and you having humanity in you and empathy, I can hear someone saying right now, well, you don't have to be rude to the people. No, you're not. But you don't have to engage with them. As I said before when I started this video, don't overthink this. Don't let your empathy get in the way of your common sense and your intuition, because the empathy sometimes trumps, most often, our empathy trumps our common sense or our better judgment or our intuition, as you would like to say. And here we are. Don't repeat the sins of the past. If you talk yourself out of what your intuition tells you and you end up where you are, there is nobody to fault but yourself. But why even go down that rabbit hole? Why would you even want to risk, because you think that you're being rude to someone or indifferent or whatever words you want to use? You want to excuse away bad behavior on part of another person, and you want to attach that bad behavior to yourself in order to justify you engaging with someone who you know means you're no good at all. Why even chance it? Why even do it? And someone say, well, you know what? Why do you have to change the way you move? Why do you have to change the way you behave? Well, why do you have to do that? Because you need to save your own life. You need to you need to preserve your own sanity. If you want to continue to heal and elevate and be the best person you can possibly be on this planet, this is the only option that you have. in order to continue that process. There's no in between. And if you don't work this out for yourself, nobody else can. Really wanted to take you guys out on the trail today, but obviously I'm still got lingering effects of whatever got a hold of me. I would say I'm about 80-90% okay now, but probably gonna go home and rest for a little while longer, and the better part of the rest of the day I'm gonna go do some work. But I wanted you guys to know that this is a very, I don't want to say intricate, but this is a very, very tricky thing as you're healing and you're becoming awake and you are awakened and you are tuned to you. This is how narcissists often latch on to you, just in cordial, casual conversation. And to add to that, I'll use a scenario whereas that narcissist I just spoke of, in particular this narcissist, I don't want to give a whole lot away, but it was a tragic incident, or actually not incident, well, incident. It was a tragic incident years ago, maybe 7 years ago, I would say, whereas their child murdered their grandmother and poured gasoline on her and set her on fire. He killed her prior to, well, I don't know whether he finished her up with the gasoline, but point being, it was a homicide, and this was this individual's child who did it and committed it. We've had several children in this area of where I live in Utica, New York, that have committed atrocious homicides on the parents. We had one here where an individual, male, killed 3 of his family members and beheaded them. We've had another incident within 5-year span, I think 7-year span. He committed the same act on his grandmother and the landlord, which was an elderly woman as well, who lived within the same building. He severed both of their heads. And this may be triggering, but I'm here to tell you, this, I believe, is narcissism as well. It's psychotic narcissism. You know, there's a switch that gets switched off with some of these people, and God forbid if they're on drugs, it just further accelerates the madness. And so this is the instance where I was going to show you where, say if it wasn't a narcissist you knew from the past, you're just in that same line waiting to be served or to take your order, and you're having this cordial conversation. I'm here to tell you where you have to be mindful of the conversations you have, whereas the person on the other side of the conversation begins to be inquisitive as to, hey, what do you do? What do you work? I would really suggest you be very mindful of how you share, what you do, where you work. Me particularly, I've done that because working for myself and I'm out in the eye of the public, I too have even in many cases, if I detect that I'm possibly dealing with a narcissist, because they ask you some of the most detailed, private, invasive questions right out of the gate, not even knowing you. Matter of fact, I've met some that didn't even say hello, and they would just they would nod or do like that, not verbal, because a narcissist is so arrogant, they don't verbally think they need to acknowledge you. So they would nod their head, and the next thing out of their mouth is, what do you do? Where do you work? And this is why you and that person are waiting in line to be served. And something inside of you tells you for half a second, this sounds weird, it's awkward asking me where I work. But again, you talk yourself out of what your intuition is telling you, and you respond, because in your mind you don't have time to compose yourself into the point of thinking, man, I shouldn't tell them this. And your empathy in the matrix thinking like, I don't want to be rude. So what do? You tell them, but you try to sugarcoat it a little bit, like, I'm in medical field. Well, how about this? How about you say, excuse me? Look at them and say, excuse me. 9 times out of 10, that narcissist may, in fact, ask you that again, but they'll change it. They'll be like, oh, I was just wondering what you do for a living. And what do you say? You say, oh, okay. What do you do? You change it. You ask them the question that they asked you. It's like, oh, okay. What do you do? And they'll tell you. And you say, oh, that's nice. That's nice. Real nice. You see how you turn in that conversation back to them? And in a very, very deliberate way, you're giving them the indication that you're not going to get the answer you want. And this changes. This shifts the dynamics of that conversation. Because what you did, you put that shield up without even being rude. Try this, guys. Exercise this, because I'm going to tell you, as opposed to times before, we really, really, really went the way of, I don't want to be rude. I don't want to come across like mean. I don't want to. It's always saving face. You don't have any friends anyway. I don't know if you knew this or not. You don't have any friends, as far as friends go, that are willing to accept you wholeheartedly for who you are, for what you are, and how you are as an individual. You may have a childhood friend you've known since you was very, very little. And there are some cases. There are some people that you guys might say, well, yeah, you don't know my life. I have a couple of friends that I can depend on. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about friends who truly accept you wholeheartedly for what you are, the truth you tell, the experience you've experienced, and they still understand that you as an individual is the very best thing that they appreciate about you. You're not going to find too many like that. But that's okay. Who's out here looking for those type of friends? God will send you those kind of friends, and they'll be friends that you don't have 20 or 30 years with. They will be friends that you haven't known for probably 6 months, a year, but you will feel like you've known them all your life, because between the two of you, something resonates that words can't express. And there will be distance between you guys. You won't even live in the same zip code. You won't even live in the same country. You won't even live in the same state. So when people walk up on you and they push up on you and they want these conversations, you have to be mindful of that. It's not something you want to allow people to engage with you to a strong depth, because they're getting intel. They are using this conversation to engage and get intricate details about you, because they probably already happened upon you weeks, months before, and they've essentially been stalking you. And there are a few cases where this is not the case, but just on the side of caution, you need to be mindful of the conversations you're having with people, especially being females, engaging with other females. Women can be very catty, and they'll go the distance in trying to run the pyramid, run the triangulation scheme and the smear campaign on you. So I just want you guys to know the things from the past to come to you. They come to you to serve you. They come to you to serve you, not to destroy you. So be mindful of those. That being said, bless.